Hello my friends, and welcome to the VOD of our very first Unreal stream from the other night. In that stream, we got familiar with Unreal, we created a project, we learned the basic controls, and we built some familiarity with the editor. Then, using SuperGrid, we went through and cloned a site from Valorant's Ascent map. If you enjoy game dev content and want to see more of it on the YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Also, check out the Twitch channel. I'm Riot New over there, and I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. For the remainder of the video, you're going to see every step along the way of how we built this, and I hope it's useful to you and your level prototypes. How's everybody doing tonight? Y'all ready to build a level? We're going to build a level tonight. Let's go ahead and get started. I got the Unreal launcher up. If you have the Epic Games launcher, this is where you get Unreal. You just go over to the Unreal Engine tab. I've got a bunch of versions of the engines installed. You don't need to worry about that. Just always take the latest, which right now I think is 4.26. From there, the plugin we're going to be using today is called SuperGrid. SuperGrid is a good way to like build out very basic levels. This plugin is totally free. If you go to the permanently free collection, you can download it. But I think it's insanely valuable. And like the art here is kind of silly looking, kind of looks like beginner sci-fi-ish, I think, but that is not the point. That is not what makes this tool cool. I'm going to go ahead and create a project without SuperGrid to show you what a new project looks like and why I think SuperGrid is so much better. So let's just straight up get the engine fired up here and go from there. We're going to do like a third person project today, I think. And let's call this, I don't know, Kilwala Crew Demo. No, demo's not right. Treehouse. We're gonna make the Kilwala Crew Treehouse. That's gonna be our project here. We're just doing, actually I am gonna make a C++ project. We're not gonna do any C++ today, but in case we do C++ later, I want to have that. I also want starter content, which is a bunch of Unreal content that comes with the engine. So let's get that up and running here. All right, so once this gets going, we'll have a project. And I'll show you what like a stock Unreal project looks like and why I'm not a huge fan of it for level prototyping. That's not fair. The engine is fine. I think there are better building blocks than what Unreal gives you out of the gate. See, this is the part where if this was like a nice edited YouTube video, we'd just like fast forward through it, but y'all are here for the real deal. So this is the basic third-person template label. I lay out my editor a little bit different from default. All of these panels are really easy to move around. And if you ever like lose a panel or get confused, you can come here and go, where is it? Where is it? Load layout, default editor layout. That will put everything back in the default place. So I use some additional tools and toys that I'm just familiar with, but like if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, you can drag things around, you can reset it. It's very flexible. And if you ever get lost, just remember you can always reset to default. It's like your nuke it from orbit, get back to clean state. So our default third person project here, we've got a little pond that we can run around with. We've got some super floaty Unreal controls. We got a little bit of geometry in the level, you know, nothing super fancy, but you know, it's a workable starting point. And you see, they also give us this palette of like stuff that we can just like drop in the world. So like, hey, we can put a cube in the world, you know, we can resize it, we can do some things. It all like sort of works, but it's very basic. And if you want to like compose a bunch of stuff out of this, let me see if I can create a good example here. If I put like two cubes together, sometimes you'll get like weird seams where like it doesn't look perfect and it's just difficult to get it all exactly correct. Now here, like, yeah, now my cube is clipping into one another. All right, so let's come out. Let's get it all just right. So now it's lined up. Sometimes when you're playing, you can see here my shadow's not quite right. So, you know, it's all fine. It works. It all works. Remake point A of Ascent. We might just do that tonight, Varush. We'll see. So other things that are basic to know, just kind of like familiarity with the editor here before we get into the actual topic for today. Down here, you got the content browser. This is like all the stuff in your project. So like I have my maps. I have like the character that I'm running here. Over on the left, I've got this place actor palette. I honestly don't use this very much. I might get rid of it here. Over here, I've got the world outliner. The world outliner has all of the individual actors in the world. So each one of these little blocks that's in the world is an actor. And you can see it in the world outliner. And then there's a details pane here that has all the details of that actor. So like its location, its rotation, its scale, its mobility. Most of the actors in my world right now are static meshes. Static meshes tend to have a model or a mesh. So like in this case, the cube mesh is literally just a cube. And then it's hanging. Okay, there we go. Then it's also got a material on top of it. And right now I've got like this basic shape material, but if I wanted to, I can load up any material that's in the engine. So if I wanted to make it look like a brick, like I've got this clay brick material that comes with the engine, and now it's a clay brick. It looks pretty low fidelity, but like, you know, it's a starting point, right? Like we're not making professional art out here. We're just applying some materials to meshes. So that's kind of like the very high level view of how the editor is laid out. And as we're flying around here, basically what I'm doing is I'm holding my right click down. And I'm moving around with W, A, S, and D. I can go up and down with Q and E. So it's basically like World of Warcraft flight controls. It's exactly the same for controlling a camera. You can also like do some dolly back and forth with left click and moving your mouse back and forward, but I almost never use it. I always use the World of Warcraft flight controls to get around my level. Other things that are super useful right out of the gate is you have three main types of transforms, or I don't know what the right word is, maybe not transforms, like gizmos. You have select and translation, which is what we have right here, so we can move stuff around. And you can move it around on each axis or on multiple axes at the same time. We have rotation, which does what you expect. I can rotate things. Same thing, I can do it on different axes. And then you have scale, which is how you make things bigger or smaller. Pretty easy. You can also control all of this stuff by manipulating the transform directly. So like if I want to cut it in half on the X dimension, I can just change this number. But often you'll use the tools. By default, the hotkeys for these are like, I think it's W, E, and R. So you'll probably see me flipping through pretty quickly as we go, and that's all it is. It's just familiarity with those keys. Another hotkey that's super useful is if you press the end key, and you have an object that is above the floor. Oops, let's get back to the translation gizmo there. If I press the end key, it'll snap to the surface below it. All right. That's all the basics you need. Let's get out of this project and let's go into our SuperGrid project. Yeah, Unreal is super powerful. You can get going out of the gate and do a ton of cool stuff. It's a lot of fun. And today is going to be very simple. Like, we're not going to talk about anything super advanced. We are just going to like put stuff in the world. So this is the SuperGrid demo project. It has a lot going on here. I'm not going to go through all of it. But I'll show you a few things here, and then we're just going to start using it right out of the gate. They're showing off like all their materials and a bunch of other things. My mouse sensitivity is really low for this. You can like go up to these buttons and stuff and interact with them, and it sort of like gives you a tutorial on like what all the features are. Right here, it's showing us a bunch of the different materials that they have. We're going to talk about that when we get going. This level prototyping capability is the main thing we care about. And all of this world that's around us, like all of this grid, this is built from the meshes and materials that ship with this project. So really what SuperGrid is it's just a collection of meshes and materials that are good for prototyping levels. So like it comes with a stairs mesh, it can do cylinders, it can do cones, boxes are sort of like the main building block that you'd use. Cylinders, cylinder pieces, hexagons, pyramids, rings. You can do all sorts of weird cube shapes. You know, they're doing all sorts of fancy stuff here. They've got some music going on. All right, so let's resume the game from right here. We can look a little bit further. So here it's showing off more materials, some of the shapes that you can make. So, you know, like this is a pretty standard, like Unreal ass level, right? But it's all built with materials and meshes from this content pack. So that's pretty cool. They built a little elevator. You know, they show that you can slide around, do a little ramp. Just a bunch of cool stuff here. All right. So we want to use all this goodness in our project. We don't really want to play around in this starter project. So the way we do that is we come here, we do migrate. We give it a path. which in this case is going to be our Kilwalla Crew treehouse content. Let's call it, I don't know if I need to create a folder here, actually. I don't know if it's going to do what I want. We're going to find out. If it doesn't do what I want, we're going to have a big mess, and that's okay. We'll figure it out. Let's see. Let's see what it does. I'm going to take a quick look here. Hang on a second, chat. I'm going to look off screen here, see if it's a disaster. It's loading. It's loading. I'm going into my content directory. Oh, everything's fine. We're saved. Okay, it did what I wanted. All right. So let's get out of this project and let's go back to our other project and let's actually do what we want here. All right, y'all. So our editor for the Kilwalla Crew treehouse project is loading up. I don't want this level. Let's make our own level. We are going to make a new level and we are going to call it, we're going to call it default. That's fine. So this is the default floor you have. It's just a template floor that you give. And, you know, if we were doing the normal Unreal thing, we would just like, you know, place blocks and stuff around the world, start building things out. We don't want to do that. Let's use SuperGrid. So to do that, I'm going to come over to SuperGrid here. I'm actually going to open up a second content browser so that I can flip around a little bit more quickly. You can like put tabs and stuff wherever you want. It's pretty cool. And if we go into the starter pack, so what you're going to see here is there's a few different folders. They have sources, which has the meshes directory here has all of these meshes that we're going to use to build things. Then they have materials, and these have a bunch of materials that we can use. And we'll talk more about this as we go. Uh-oh, why are my materials not compiling? Let's check that we're okay here. I might need to re-import. I want to look at, let's look at the, we are missing some of our materials, I think. Let's check here. Okay, it's figuring it out, I think. I think it's going to be okay. I think our materials just haven't compiled yet. We might be compiling some shaders here in a little bit. The other thing that you get with a default level is like, you have the stuff in the world required to spawn your actor, or your pawn in this case. So I get this third person guy, and you know, he can fall off the world. It's fine. But Epic gives you a pretty good mannequin to start from. Okay, so like I said, I don't really like this floor. We're going to use SuperGrid. So I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to come over here to our meshes, and I'm just going to make a box. So here is the killer feature, I think, for SuperGrid. As I transform this mesh, it is going to build a grid. Some might even say it's going to build a SuperGrid. And you can configure this, but by default, each of these little blocks is 10 centimeters. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The big squares are 100 centimeters. The small squares are 10 centimeters. And this is super useful because, like, let's say you're building a competitive shooter. And let's say in that competitive shooter, you know that every character is exactly 200 centimeters tall. And you want to place things around your level that are, say, exactly head height. You see where I'm going with this, chat? This gives you a super easy way to visualize the space and understand exactly how tall things are and place things around the world. And as you change the scale of it, it just works. If you want to see how that actually works, it's in the materials. And I'm not going to explain everything that's going on here today, but it is documented and you can go through it if you're interested. But in these base material functions, you'll see they basically do some math here to build that grid and keep it up to date as you go. So now we've got a much prettier floor, I think. Let's make sure I can still spawn and not fall off the world. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. Well, we can fix that. My spawn point is outside the world. Also, I made this cube a lot bigger than I intended to. Let's fix that real quick. Let's just put this bad boy at the origin of the world here. Everything's fine. This is what game development's like. You're like, oh, did I accidentally fall through the world? Welcome to my game. Okay. So now everything's fine. Let's do this like negative 1500, negative 1500, negative 30. I think that's going to basically center our spawn point here. Let's double check that that's true. Oh, I'm still spawning at camera location. No, I'm not. Interesting. Okay, I'm still too high. That's the problem. I think. We'll figure it out. It's fine. This is unscripted. We're just playing, chat. There we go. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. This is a pack you can get from the Unreal Marketplace. It's called SuperGrid, and it's in the permanently free collection. Okay. So now we've got a starting point. Let's take a look at our palette a little bit, because I mentioned you had all those different meshes that you can use here, right? So like, let's say I want a ring. I have a ring now. And much like our box, as I transform it, as I scale it, I should probably scale it on 2 axes at the same time. As I scale it, the grid just works. The grid just works, chat. It's awesome. I can do a cylinder bend here. I can make my cylinder bigger or smaller. Big grid. We love it. We love it, chat. Another thing that's super useful in the editor, let's say you want to clone a piece you already have. You can now hold Alt and then just drag to duplicate. So, you know, I can turn this guy around 180 degrees, 170, 180. I can get them all lined up nicely. And if I had transformed it evenly, this would all line up perfectly. But, you know, it's a little flat doodad, so it's not quite perfect, but you get the idea. So other things you can do, right? I got a slope. Slopes are useful. Let's say you want to, you know, change the elevation, right? I got a slope we can do here. It is all good. It is all good. It's got stairs. Same idea here. If I want to make my stairs bigger and longer, it's very easy. And again, we get that nice clean grid so that we can say, hey, like, are my stairs exactly 300 centimeters long? Yes, they are. We know that just by looking at it because we have 3 large segments here. You can also adjust these materials to you know, have whatever look you want here. So right now I'm just using the default one. Out of the gate, here, let me select my actor, and the way I change the material is I just drag it here. So I can do like this double color one, which is a little more pronounced. I can have a walkable texture for a surface. Let's say that like I don't like this color palette they have right here on the double color material. What I can do here is I can create a material instance, and let's call it my blue-green material. Then I can come into the material editor for my instance here. I can change the color and the secondary color. So like, let's make this a nice bright blue. Maybe like this. That's very blue. And let's make this one like a bright green, right? Something like this, right? So I can save that now. And it will apply my color scheme. Oh my goodness, that's too bright. That is too bright, chat. We're gonna have to tone this down just a little bit. All right, let's go with like a dark blue. Maybe here. I don't know. That's a little more purple than I want. I'm so bad at colors. This is what I said. Like y'all are in the programmer zone now, right? This is programmer art. So, you know, bear with me here. Let's try that, and maybe a little bit of a darker green. I don't know, something like that maybe. Okay, now we've got a nice plasticky toy looking blue-green material to work from. And I can have different materials for all these different things. So those are kind of like the main building blocks that we have to work with. Another thing that we have super cool, which I actually don't use as much, but I am going to show you for completeness, assuming it imported. It did. Okay. So it also comes with some blueprints. The blueprints, the 2 main ones that I've seen, there's this wall, which you can basically build. I'm going to delete these real quick. Here, let's clean this up, and let's make this a little bigger to start with. Okay. So this wall has a spline on it. And the way it is built, where's my spline editor? Maybe I click here. Where is it? Where is it? I'm blind. I think it's down here. It's like in my wall. So you can barely see it right now, but I do have a little spline here. And if I move this spline around, it automatically builds my wall. Which, like, fine, you know, that's cool, but we can already do that by just dragging a cube around. However, I can add points to my spline and it will just trace a wall along my spline for me. So if I want to like quick and dirty, like build a little maze or something, I can just drag it as a series of points and I've got, you know, a little maze here, right? Look how easy that was. I didn't have to spend a ton of time fiddling with blocks and placing them exactly. Now, I probably wouldn't use this for like my full level, but for just like getting an idea of the space, this is super, super powerful. And again, there's a bunch of tunable parameters on it as well. So if we look here, we can control this column thickness, which is this little cylinder at the end. Let's say I don't want a column. Boom, it's gone. Let's say I want a fat column. Oh my goodness, my wall is all columns now, chat. That's maybe a little too big. But that's all tunable. It's all automatically generated. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to place these in the world. It just works. Similarly, I can change the thickness of my walls just by changing a parameter. And again, I can change both the mesh and the material for the wall part and the column part. So very easy to use, pretty cool, right? All right, let's look at another one. Dynamic stairs. This is a similar concept. It's a little bit like less impressive, but basically you have an endpoint for your stairs. You move it around, your stairs grow automatically. Now it's only letting me move it on this axis. I thought I could move it on additional axes, but maybe I cannot. It looks like it's axis locked right now. I don't know about that. I'll have to check. You can also look again at how all this stuff is implemented. This is the blueprint editor, which is basically Unreal's scripting language. And I think all of these are built in the construction script, which is basically a place where you can do stuff in the editor rather than at runtime. But yeah, so basically we have generative stairs here. And like we could come in here, we could change the logic, we could build our own, we could extend it, but it's pretty sick. So there are two other blueprints that are useful. There is SuperGrid Master. And what SuperGrid Master does is it allows you, actually before I do this, let me get rid of SuperGrid Master here. I want to put a few more meshes in the world. Let's just drop some of these in here. Hang on a second. So we got a little half cylinder here. Again, I'm fumbling with my function keys just to kind of get everything placed. So we're not doing anything fancy yet, right? We're just putting some stuff in the world. So let's talk about those remaining two blueprints and what they do. SuperGrid Master, we drop in the world, and it automatically knows how to find every piece of SuperGrid in your world. And its function is that you can change all of them at once. So this is mostly, I think, just for, I don't know what Refresh Lines does, actually. I'd have to look at the blueprint for that. But the main thing you use it for is, let's say I've decided I don't like the style I'm using. I want everything to use my super sick blue-green material. It will find and change all of the actors in the world in one go. So it's a good way to say, hey, I want to change the way stuff looks. I want to replace all the materials in the entire scene. When you're iterating early on, this is maybe useful, right? It's not super fancy or anything, but it's fast. Actually, I hate this material. So let's see what else is here in the advanced area. Let's look at some hexagons. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's play hexagon in Fall Guys. And I've decided that I think I want my floor to be a different material. So, you know, fast way to change everything in your world. All right, so let's now make a little level here. First, I'm going to go back to my default material. There we go. We got our beautiful default material here. Feel like this world is a little bit bigger than what I want. So let me tune it down just a little bit, and then we'll go from there. So let's start with 20 by 20, which is probably not big enough, but is a good enough starting point. And then let's just start putting some stuff in the world. So let's start by making a wall here. And since we're 20 by 20, I think what I want to do is make this guy like 8-ish units, which is going to be 8 meters long. Yeah, like right about that, right? And let's make it, I don't know. Let's start at like 8 meters tall. So that's 8 meters tall. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate him and just drag him over here. And it's not quite lined up. Now it is. That is perfect. So we've got a nice little entry area here. I want to go back to my meshes here. I want to, let's build a little arch maybe. Oh, that's kind of cool looking. I want another 10 degrees. Turn down the music just a hair here, chat. We're going to get this lined up right where I want it here. The other thing you can do in Unreal that's useful, if you ever want to get things just perfect, is you can click this button and you can see the scene that you're working on from a bunch of different angles, including in wireframe. So like if I want to see, am I perfectly lined up here from the top? The answer is no, but I can just move it like so. And then similarly, I can come and look at like the right or the left and check whether or not it's exactly where I want it. Actually, that's not the angle I want. That's okay. It's fine. It's fine. You can't see the little SuperGrid pips in this view. You just see the wireframe. Then when I want to go back, we can just pull this guy up. All right. So let's put this here. Let's go ahead and make him, I don't know, like 2 units long, 2 meters. I don't know. That's kind of gross, actually. Let's do this arch instead. See if that works better. So I'm going to rotate him around. Again, we're going to come out to 2 meters. That's right. We'll get him positioned like so. There's probably like some level designer who, if they ever see this, they're just going to be screaming at like how slow and inefficient I am. But again, like, we're just having fun. We're just having fun. And I'm a programmer. I'm not an artist. This is too high. I think we're going to need to bring these walls down, but that's okay. So let's rotate a clone here and put that just like so. Again, we're off just a hair, but with SuperGrid, it's easy to line it all up. Okay, so these walls, I think, are a little bit too tall. Let's bring these down. And then let's clone one. Bring it up here. Change its scale. Oops, it'd be easier if I did it from this side. These are basically just big Legos at this point, chat. We are just putting our Legos together. So look at that. We've got like a beautiful, beautiful doorway. Nothing to it, right? And if we wanted to, it would not be that hard to adjust the height of it. But here you go. When did I start using UE4? I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. What up, young Rumble Mike? How you doing, buddy? How do you change the size on one side only? You mean like one dimension? So when you're dragging, you can just pick an axis and drag on that axis. You can also do multiple axes if you want to at the same time. So like if I want both of these, that will do both at the same time. I gotta fix it, hang on. Also, if you know the exact value you want, you can just come over here and change it, right? So I've got 20 meters in the X direction. If I want 50 meters, I can just change it to 50. Oh, I don't have a numpad. There we go. Right, so now it's 50 meters long. So you don't have to do it all with dragging. There's lots of ways to do it. Just whatever is most convenient for your workflow here. All right. So another thing I think I want to do real quick is I want my floor to be a different color just so it's easy to read the floor. So let's go ahead and just create a different material for that. Maybe, hey, let's just use this walkable material, right? That's a fine enough starting point. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, let's put some more walls in the level. So I'm just gonna, bring this guy here. Easy. Another wall, just like that. No problem. We'll get that all lined up there. And you can't even see that seam, right? Like it just lines up great. Although, am I short a unit here? Because I don't have the box on the other side. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Let's make this wall longer. Boop, 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 boop. It's important to make sound effects as you build your level out. Cool. Got another wall. We need a wall on the other side here. Done. We have another wall. Now, I think for this wall, maybe I want to put a door here or something. So I'm going to change the shape of it a little bit here. Give me just a second. Oop. Did my screen cut out there? Sorry, chat. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and make this one, I don't know, 15 units maybe? Something like that. Does that give us enough room for a door? We'll find out. Maybe a little shorter. Let's go 13 units. Then drag him right into place. And, you know, I think I'm going to make my door look a little bit different this time. Let's go back to our palette here. Let's get some more boxes. You know what you could do that I think would be a really cool idea? You know, free game idea here. Maybe this door could be opened by some form of switch. Some form of switch, you know? So like we could have like a switch on this wall and it could control like maybe a garage door of some sort. You know, I don't know. Something like that could be cool maybe. Just, you know, thinking out loud here. And, you know, I think maybe actually, I don't know. Something like this could work. You know, okay, here's an idea. Here's an idea. Let's do this. Let's bring him there. And we're going to make this wall a little bit fatter. Maybe like so. Just to give it a little bit more heft here. Let's bring this piece here. We'll clip it all in here. Get it a little bit smaller. Lock it in here. And then, you know, I think we're going to need some ceiling on top of our door. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. I was still holding Alt there. And I don't know. Let's say our door is like 4 meters tall, which is maybe pretty tall. Let's try 3.5 meters maybe. Does that sound good to y'all? And let's shrink it down here. Now, the one trick here is my grid doesn't line up perfectly because I'm doing a 0.5 meter. Let's actually come up. We'll do 4 meters for now, just because it reads cleaner. So, you know, we have a nice little doorway. And like, let's say you're, you know, some super fancy level designer. Maybe you like put a movable door here and put a switch on it, right? So, you know, this is coming along. This is coming along. I feel like we need a little bit more space here. So I'm actually going to shrink this one by another meter. Bring it on over. And we'll make this one a little bit bigger. Bring this back. Just like so, you know? All right, that's looking good. I like that. So we've got a little frame to work for our level here. Now, the level I'm taking inspiration from here, based on the chat call out here, I think it's got like some crates or something down here. So let's make some crates here. And we're going to put that on the floor. I think my crate is going to be 2 by 2 by 2. You know, something like that. That feels about right. Maybe a little big, but something like that, you know? So if I were to happen to have a character that was, say, exactly 2 meters tall, right? That would be about their head height. Let's do this. So we could stack them like so. And then we can also clone like so. Right. So we've got like some basic boxes there, right? And let's go ahead and select all of these. I get a hold of the one I want to get a hold of here. Yeah. There. And I want to give these all different materials. So here's like a case where you could use the group stuff, but I'm not going to do that here today because we're just working quickly. Let's look at our options here. Let's use that basic double color for now. Gosh, it's so gross. I don't like it. Our blue-green is also gross. Chat, what color should we use? What do you think? Anyone got a real good idea here? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Purple, maroon. All right, purple and maroon. Let's give that a shot. So we're going to create a new material instance. Let's call it M SuperGrid. Purple, maroon. How do you make a material that has different things in it, like boxes or walls in Valorant? I mean, the real answer is you do real art, you do real textures, but with SuperGrid, you can get this great little starting point to work from. So what do you think there? Is that like a nice maroon, maybe a little darker? And we wanted a nice purple. Oh yeah, that's going to be looking good. Let's see what our boxes look like. Purple and maroon. I like that. We got some good boxes here, chat. Oh yeah. All right. So let's continue. Now, let's say, you know, maybe as you come into this space, we want like a little bit of an elevation change, for example. So let's figure out what that's going to feel like. I don't want to think that hard. Let's just make a new one. Get the pivot where I actually want it. It'll be fine. Okay, everything's fine again. So let's make this one like 1 meter high. We're gonna have a little elevation change here. Again, we're gonna make it big, fill up the entire space. So we've got some additional elevation here. We're either a little too long or not quite lined up, and we're not quite lined up. So you can see when I mess it up, we'll get this flickering Z fading from some angle. You'll see the different edges kind of flicker in and out. I don't know if you can see that on the stream, but that's how it works. Do I mess with networking? I'm going to learn more about local prediction, but it's hard to find resources. A little bit. You should check out Valve's tech blog. They have an old article which goes through like the basics of how that worked. And I think maybe it was one of the Half-Life games, but it's super cool and super informative. All right. Check it out, y'all. We've now got additional elevation. I think this is a little bit too close, so let's move it like right there. Let's also build like some little ramps or something, you know? Let me see here. I'm going to check something on my end. Let's do right here, maybe. All right, so that lines up. We're going to have a little elevation change here. I think I actually want to move all of this like 2 meters. Oops, didn't mean to move it yet. 1. Like right there, maybe. And we can just bring this out for now. Make that space a little bit bigger. Now our floor is too short, but that's okay. That is easy to fix. All right, cool. Is that right? That's almost right. This wall's a little too short now. Hey, everything's perfect. All right, cool. So we got a little elevation change. Let's make some little ramps, maybe some little stairs, you know? We can line it up nicely with our door, which looks to be about 4 meters across. So if we come back to our palette here, let's build some stairs right here. And again, I can actually, oh, you know what? I got it perfect without having my reference set up. So, you know, you love to see it. We take those as y'all know. So that looks pretty good. Maybe we stretch it out a little. What do y'all think here? Like so? Yeah, like a little 2 meter stairway here. Okay, let's build a ramp on this side. It's a little bit too long. We want to get it to 2 meters here. Okay, there we go. And then on this side, I'm gonna like not build the ramp, I think. And I think what I would actually do here is change the color of that. But this is starting to feel a little bit like the actual map. The proportions are not right, but you know, that's okay. So for these guys, this guy should be green. We want him to look like grass, right? To follow on with our theme here. Let's create a material instance of the default type here. Let's make this M SuperGrid green. The M underscore just means material. It's just a convention. Doesn't actually mean anything. That looks like grass, kind of, right? Cool. It should probably be darker. Let's make it darker. Or less, here, let's do this. Let's try that. Yeah, that looks a little better. Again, we're going to apply our walking material. So another thing that is useful is you can press this little search button on any asset to take you to its location in the content browser. And then you can press this button to use your current selection. So if I want to make this all that same walkable material, very easy, just like so. I am cloning to the best of my ability Ascent A site right now. So I think we need some boxes right here. I think also the map has like a little bit of a lip. Let's snap that into place. Why is my snap not working? Whoa. Interesting. Oh, it's not working because I have two objects here instead of just one. That's why. Okay. That's okay. Don't actually need it. And then let's create a little lip here. Again, just kind of using our block. So the point I'm getting to, chat, with all of this is like, y'all see how easy this is, right? Like, I'm not very fast at this. I am not a level creator, but even a programmer like me can build out something, you know, pretty cool looking pretty quickly. This is not perfectly lined up. This should be a little bit smaller. Let's try 0.25. That might be a little too big still. Let's try like 0.1. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, so we'll put that there. And again, get it lined up with the wall and clone it. Doot, doot, doot. Oh no, I'm not symmetrical. It's okay. Yeah. So it looks pretty good, right? Right? It's coming together. It's coming together, chat. Let's take our Radianite crates here and make some more. And I don't know exactly how these are positioned, but I think it's something like this. Not totally lined up with one another. They have a little bit of distance in between them. Something. They're together, but one's in front of the other. Maybe like that. And just to make it easier to reason about, I'm going to do like that. Something like that, right? Does that look right to y'all? Do I have the val maps on my PC? Just put them side to side. I don't. This is not my work machine. The other thing we need is we need to build generator here. And I think my play space is a little bit too narrow compared to like the real map, but like we're just going to live with it. Oops, I didn't need to do that. I meant to clone it. So like, let's put our generator right here, roughly. Maybe more like right here. And we're just going to clone it out. Hey, we've got a generator, right? No, Bootin, I'm just doing it because I wanted to do something different. And my Discord said it would be fun to do some Unreal stuff. All right, so this is looking pretty good. Now I want to do the back of site. Let's get ramp. To do that, I'm going to need more space here, I think. So let's just make everything bigger, yeah? I don't know exactly how big. That's probably too much. Maybe like so. Just like that. Oops, I made it a little bigger, which is not what I meant. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more depth to work with here. This is a site, y'all, on Ascent. Come on, surely it looks close enough. Surely, come on. See, we got the arch, we got the little doorway here. Okay, it does. Good, good, good. We're getting there. You're just trolling me, bro. You're just trolling me. I get it. I get it. Okay. So, let's build our little like wood block box here. Again, we're gonna just kind of draw from the palette here. I'm not totally sure where this goes. I feel like maybe here. And this one is a little bit thinner, right? Because it's that nice, clean wall pinnable surface. I think it's about that high, roughly. You like my changes to the Tetris boxes? Nice. I'm glad. And I think the opening is like a little bit wider than the stairs, right? Something like that, maybe. It's not perfect. It's close enough. Like, what I really should do is get like a bunch of reference images and work from that, but we're not going to do that because that's not the point of this exercise. This is just for fun. Oh, I lost my boxes here. Let's fix that. There we go. That feels a little bit too wide to me. Does that feel a little bit too wide to y'all? I think that's still a little bit too wide. See the door blueprint? Let's see. Let's make it like that. And like that. Let's try that. That's a little too narrow, I think. Let's try like this, maybe. Am I Z fighting? I am. You can see the overlap there. It's because of the number of units that I'm grid snapping to. Okay, let's do... So that's exactly 6 units right now. I need it to be, what, negative 275, I think? Yeah, there we go. You can also change your snap numbers here, but I don't normally think that hard. I normally just change it. All right, so this is 5.75 now. Let's match that so that we're symmetrical. And then I probably need to move this just a hair. Oops. Is that right? That looks right. That one was a lot easier. I don't know why. That's okay. All right, let's build our little top plank here and our back wall. Let's do the back wall first. And again, we're gonna make this fairly thin, not because that serves any function, but just because it's easy. Oops, I didn't need 2 copies there. Why am I still getting multiple copies? Did I already make 2 copies? I did. That's why I'm getting extra copies there. Get this all nicely lined up here. Oh no, it doesn't line up. Negative 1400. And then I'm going to make this like 13, I think. That's close. 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 meters long. There we go. All right. We need a floor here. And we will just position it like so. I wonder actually if I do my end key, will it snap the way I want? It will not. That's too bad. It's okay. We can do it manually, and we need to make it a little bit longer after we did that rotation. Hey, look at that, chat. Look at that. We are looking good, I think. What do y'all think? Looking good? Looking good? So now we're not going to do the full level or anything, right? But this should actually be more like so. And we also should have some blocker here, that thin wall that you'd have on the real map. I'm not going to do the backside of this, right? But just imagine this connected through. Similarly, we should actually have a small wall piece here. There's that Z fighting. It's really apparent now. Okay. So let's block off the inside here. And I need to come over 10 centimeters like so and stretch out 20 centimeters. Perfect. So, you know, if I were doing this for real now, this would loop around to that ramp. There would be the window going into tree room. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to call it good, sort of like this. I think we're still missing a few crates, so let's get that sorted here. There's that one. There's a little baby crate next to this one, right? I think we're just gonna like make this one by one. And that will be our little baby crate. Get it positioned. Where is it on the actual map? It's like this-ish, right? Is that right? I think that's about right. We should also have some crates up top here. Right? And I think they're not this fat on the map, but it's close enough. It's close enough. So, you know, I mean, it's not perfect, right? But like, how long did we spend on this chat? Like, less than an hour for sure. And already, like, we've got something that, like, realistically, we could come and, like, playtest if we had a game built around it. So, you know, this is a gray box level, right? We have a site. I can spawn into it. I can run around. These controls don't have all the same movement parameters as Valorant, but I could play in this space, you know? So I don't know. Y'all tell me, what do you think? Yeah, my spawn point was inside a box. That's why that happened. The Riotous, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Killwalla crew. So, even a programmer can do it. This is why SuperGrid is great. You see I have all these reference points that I can look at. The height of the mannequin is not identical to, you know, our characters, but I mean, if you wanted it to be a different height, you just change the parameters in your SuperGrid material. And I think we're going to call it good there. Maybe we'll do something fun with it later in a subsequent video. If y'all enjoyed this, let me know. Let me know what other topics you'd like to see. But with that, let me save the project. Oh, I see. I see what happened here. I haven't named this map. I probably should have done that a lot earlier, in case the editor crashed. Ascent clone. All right. Maybe we'll build out the rest of the map someday. We're not going to build out the rest of the map someday, but maybe we'll do something to play with it. What am I changing here? No, I do not want to modify that material. Yes, I do want to save all that stuff. Git add. Create Killwalla crew treehouse and clone Ascent a site. All right, my friends, let me play some Valorant.